Lesson 12-7, Volume of Prisms and Cylinders. Objective of this lesson, to find volumes of prisms and circular cylinders. And let's proceed with what volume is. We know from 6th grade that volume is also capacity, the amount a container will hold, or its capacity is what we call volume. Volume is usually measured in cubic units. Two common units of measure for volume are cubic centimeter and cubic inch. Okay, the volume of a prism can be found by multiplying the area of the base times the height. But before we go there, let's go more into depth what volume really is. Okay, so when you talk about volume of a prism or a circular cylinder, we discuss capacity, but what really is volume? Okay, so if you look at this particular definition of what volume is, okay, the volume of a three-dimensional figure is the amount of space within it. That is the volume of a polyhedron. We discussed the definition of polyhedron is equal to the number of unit cubes that can fit inside it. Sometimes determining the number of cubes that will fit is easy, and sometimes it's rather difficult. Let's look at one easy situation first. Okay, so when you talk about volume, it is the definition of volume is the number of cubes that can fit into a particular polyhedron. Okay, or a dimensional figure enclosed by polygons. That's what a polyhedron is. Okay, let's look at the volume of a rectangular prism right here. Look at the volume of a rectangular prism. If you notice, what's happening is that, okay, it is being filled with cubes. So if you notice, the bottom layer has how many cubes? It has 9 cubes. Okay, so if you get those 9 cubes and pile them up, what is the volume of this rectangular prism or this cube? Okay, so there are 3 layers of 9 cubes in this the 3 layers of 9 cubes in this prism, so there will be 27 cubes. So the volume of this cube is 27 cubic units. That's what volume is. And that's the reason why we need to, and that's the reason why the unit is in cubic units. Okay? And going back now to what the definition of volume is in terms of finding the volume is the volume can be found by multiplying the area of the base times the height. So volume is nothing more than big B times the height. Okay? Uppercase B is different from lowercase b because uppercase B represents the area of the base. Okay? So there is a big difference between uppercase and lowercase b. So the formula for volume is uppercase B times height or big B times height. Okay? And let's see how this works. If we want to find the volume of this particular rectangular prism, first we need to know what kind of prism this is. This is the base is a rectangle. That's why we call it a rectangular prism. If it is a rectangular prism, then that means that the area of the base is length times width, because the area for a rectangle is length times width. So the volume of this rectangular prism is length times width times height. Okay. Therefore, after that we replace the values length and width times height, which is 2 times 3.5 times 5, and we get now that the volume of this rectangular prism is 35 cubic inches. Okay. So go on to the next example. You have a prism that has bases that are right triangles as shown below. The height of the prism is 10 centimeters. Again, we need to identify what kind of prism this is. This is a triangular prism because the bases are shaped like triangles. Therefore, if the volume is big B times height, where big B represents the area of uh, the base, okay, and we know for a fact that the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Okay, we can therefore determine, or we can now find the volume and apply the formula area of a triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. The base of the triangle is 6 centimeters, and the height of the triangle is 8 centimeters, and thus uh, uh, we substitute these values to the formula for area of the triangle. Multiply it by 10, which represents the height of the triangular prism. Okay? From there, we can find the answer. So, 24 times 10, because 1/2 times 6 is 3 times 8 is 24. Multiply that by 10. The volume of this triangular prism is 240 cubic feet. Okay? After that, let's look at a circular cylinder. Okay? Since the base of a circular cylinder is a circle and its area is equal to pi r squared, we can substitute pi r squared for big B to find the volume of a cylinder. So, in this case, the volume of our cylinder would be equal to, okay, pi r squared h. Why? Because the base is circle in this case. So if it's a circle, okay, the area for a circle is pi r squared. And that's the formula, pi r squared times h. Let's look at the second example and let's see how this works. In the second example, it's saying that you have a can of tomato juice, and has a diameter of 14 centimeters and a height of 20 centimeters. What is the volume? Okay. Let's again go back to the formula for volume of a cylinder, which is pi r squared h. Okay. Pi r squared h. And then we substitute the values of radius, which is 7. Why is it 7? Because when you talk about the circle, it has a diameter of 14 centimeters, and half the diameter is the radius, which is 7 centimeters. Thus, the number 7 in the formula. Square it, multiplied by the height of our cylinder, which is this one, which is 20 centimeters. Okay. From there, we can find the volume, which is approximately 3,079 cubic centimeters. So the volume is about 3,079 cubic centimeters. Okay. Let's go to the last example. If you know the volume of a cylinder, you can solve for the formula for H or R to find the height or radius of a cylinder. Okay, let's try this one. A cylindrical natural gas storage tank is being manufactured to hold at least 1 million cubic feet of natural gas and have a diameter of no more than 80 feet. What height should the tank be? So if you notice, we're not looking for the volume because we know what the volume is. We are looking for the height of the tank. What do we know? We know this. Okay, the tank is a cylinder. You know that the volume and the diameter of the tank. You must find the height. So the formula for volume is pi r squared times h. Solve for the formula of height to find the height. In order to do that, substitute the values for volume for radius. We know that the diameter is 80 feet, so the radius is 40 feet. So substituting the values, 1 million, which is the volume, equal to pi multiplied by 40 squared times h. Okay, and when you solve for h, we simply, to isolate h, we need to divide both sides by pi and by 1600. And that's the reason why you have these two divisions in your calculator, dividing both sides by pi and by 1600. You end up with the height of a tank, which is 198.9 198.9 feet. Okay, so the tank should have a height of at least 199 feet. Okay, so that is how we apply the formula in a word problem in finding the formula for volume in finding the height. Let's try these three examples and let's see uh, how you do here. Now what you can do is you can pause the video and answer it on your own and see if your answer matches to my answer. Let's start. We want to find the volume of this rectangular prism for number 6. Okay, so first we need to write down the formula for volume. Formula for volume is, in this case, base times height. Since this is a rectangular prism, the formula for volume is length times width times height. Okay, and length is 4, height is 5, and width is 5 and height is 8. Multiply all of them together. Okay, 20 times 80 is 160 cubic centimeters. That is the volume for number 6. Okay, the volume for number 7, again, formula for volume is basic, big B times height. But since this is a triangular prism, the area volume is 1/2 base times height of the triangle multiplied by the height of the prism. So this is now 1/2 times the height of 10 inches multiplied by the base of 10 inches and the height of 8 inches multiplied by the height of the prism, which is 15 inches. Okay. So you have 1/2 times 10 is 5, 5 times 8 is 40. You're multiplying now 40 times 15, or simply 600 square inches. Okay, sorry, not square, cubic inches. And finally, the last one, this is a cylinder. So write down the formula for volume of a cylinder, which is equal to pi r squared h. And in this case, we are given the radius. So this becomes now pi times 25, or 5 squared first, times 15. Okay, so this is 25 pi, or 25 times 15. Okay, and 25 times 15 is nothing more than 375 pi. Simplifying it further, 375 pi is equal to 1,100 78.1, okay, square or cubic centimeters, and that is rounded to the nearest tenth. Okay, and that's it. Again, the last part, you need to make a summary of what you've learned in terms of finding the volume of those three figures and ask questions when necessary. Thank you.